the APBA Hall of Champions and Honor Squadron.
Okay, the first part of our ceremony tonight will be the APBA Honors Squadron ceremony and induction. And in order to make that presentation, I would invite up Ms. Ann Fitzgerald. Ann, come on up.
Being chairman of Honor Squadron is an honor in itself, and I want to thank Howie Nichols again for appointing me for that position. We had our meeting this morning, and two of my committee members were there, Sally Titus and Gary Romberg. Would you come up? Normally we have a bigger meeting. For now, would those two people come up? I don't know where you are. Sally and Gary. Where are they? Anyway, we have more people in the meeting who I'll tell you about, but when it turned out to be only 3 of us, I thought this is going to be a short meeting, and it turned out to be an hour and 10 minutes. Now, I don't know which one of us was talking the most, but I don't think it was me. So the other, Sally, where are you? Oh, there you are. The other people on the committee that weren't able to make it this year to the meeting were Bruce Broussard, Stephen David, Fred Howenstein, Stephen Hearn, Edgar Rose, Gloria Oben, and Mark Weber, and in spirit, always Charlie Strang. We have missed him. I would like the other Honor Squadron people that have been inducted to come up to the front as we usually do. I know there's quite a few of you here. Thank you. Is everything good? Closer, thank you. It's always a challenge for this committee. They take it seriously. And this year was a challenge above all challenges. We had 20 nominations. I think that's an all-time record. We had so many that we actually had to have 2 heats, I'll say. We had to do 2 ballots to boil it down because we do induct just 2 people each year. If your nominee did not get in, please don't be discouraged. Rework the nomination and get it to us, and we'll consider it again. Sometimes it takes a couple of years. The people that are being inducted tonight were actually nominated 6 or 7 times. And you know, it's just one of those situations where we just take 2 people, and sooner or later, if they have the merit, they'll get into Honor Squadron. Okay. All right, that will work a little bit better. At this time, for the first induction, I would like to invite Patrick Gleason, the nominator, to come up to the stage.
Thank you, Ann. Lake, Washington, has had a multifaceted involvement in APBA, not just as a competitor, but also off the race course, and is one of the key developers and inventors of next generation safety equipment, as well as an extensive involvement off the race course, providing service and leadership at the national and local level. Al LaPointe has been an APBA member since 1962, when he began racing in the OPC category. The following year, Al and his brother partnered in racing an SK flat bottom, and his powerboat racing career began to take off. As Al grew in the sport, his boats went on to win national championships and set world records for both himself and drivers like George Woods Jr. and Kip Brown. As a boat owner, his Can-Am Express set the world record in K-Racing runabout in 1977 at 144.387 miles per hour, which stood for 13 years. Racing success, however, is only part of the picture. Off the race course, Al served on the board of directors of Seattle Drag and Ski Association for 20 years, including 3 years as Commodore in the mid-70s and 3 years as treasurer. Al was an inspector at over 100 races in Region 10. As a boat builder, Al began building javelin race boats in 1971 and won many races with boats like the Charge and Charlie and the Gold Dust. He served on the Inboard Boat Technical Committee for the E-Racing Runabout class while Javelin was producing these boats throughout the 70s and into the 1980s. As a race promoter, Al encouraged the concept of an inboard nationals, which included all inboard hydroplane and flat bottom classes at a single event rather than splitting them up at various locations across the country. Al witnessed this dream come to life in 1975 at the Inboard Nationals held on Seattle's Green Lake during his tenure as Commodore of Seattle Drag and Ski. Al served as race chairman for dozens of races in the 1970s and 80s for Seattle Drag and Ski Boat Association, most notably as co-chair for the Black Lake and Lake Sammamish regattas through the mid to late 1980s. During the mid to late 1990s, it was Al's efforts that secured Jean Coulon Park in downtown Renton as a site for inboard and outboard racing for several years. Al's career as race chairman ended at the top when he served as an organizer and race chairman for the 2001 Inboard National Championships in his former hometown of Renton, Washington. In 1968, Al suffered near-fatal injuries during a race on Lake Sammamish that destroyed his boat and put him in the hospital for 8 weeks. The accident served as a catalyst to his desire to improve the quality of safety equipment for boat racers. It also propelled him to start his company, Security Race Products. Starting out manufacturing his own life jackets, his company has grown to be one of the largest manufacturers of racing safety equipment. Al pioneered the development of safety equipment for today's current breed of racing boat. During the 1980s, Al worked with Jim Cropfeld and Bernie Little to develop the very first onboard air mask system for the Miss Budweiser. At the same time, Al teamed with Chip Hanauer and Jim Lucero to develop the first capsule jacket for drivers in restrained cockpits. In later years, Al developed the first marine racing helmet with a built-in air system integrated into it. Today, Al's onboard air systems and capsule suits are being used by drivers in every class of boat requiring an enclosed cockpit. In 2003, Al partnered with Ron Jones Jr. to prove that capsules in inboard flat bottoms were not only a concept that could work, but one that could be competitive and win. This collaboration resulted in the development of the One-Up, the first flat bottom that was designed and built specifically to accommodate a safety capsule. The concept and prototype proved successful, fast and safe, winning multiple races. Al's goal for better safety was not just limited to a few racing categories. Al's company was committed to reducing risks for injury. He began the manufacture of cut-resistant clothing for outboard racing, producing driving suits of Kevlar, Spectra, and Tough and Light cut-resistant materials. Al also developed a containment blanket for the turbine-powered unlimited hydros that has become the de facto standard in that category for engine safety. Al also researched and established the proper materials for adding impact material to racing life jackets for unrestrained drivers by building it directly into the life jacket. For this, Al has received countless testimonials from EMTs, rescue personnel, and emergency room doctors who have told him how the impact materials in his life jackets have saved many drivers' lives and reduced injuries. In recent years, Al was the first safety manufacturer to offer cut-resistant footwear for unrestrained cockpit racers, offering Tough and Light socks and Kevlar-lined steel-toed boots. These have been proven to be effective in the prevention of serious foot injuries in outboard racing. Al has also developed the first life jackets with built-in helmet restraints as an integral part of the life jacket. Al's drive took ideas that others could only wish for and brought them to reality for hundreds of APBA racers. Though semi-retired from the day-to-day business operations at Security Race Products, Al still stays very close to the business he founded. Al continues to be innovative by developing new products and also looking for ways to improve existing products. His quest to keep boat racing drivers as safe as possible is foremost in his mind and continues to this day. Al continues to provide financial support to the sport he loves, evidenced by the title sponsorship of Security Race Products at the 2013 Inboard Summer Nationals and a contributing sponsor to the 2014 Stock Mod J Nationals at Moses Lake, as well as the 2016 Inboard Western Divisional Championships. It is Al's passion, dedication, success, and tireless efforts for over 55 years in developing better safety equipment for APBA drivers and his local, regional, and national service to APBA that best qualifies him for APBA's Honor Squadron. Unfortunately, Al is not able to be with us tonight. However, his wife Judy and his son Gary are here to receive the medal, and we did record a brief message from Al before we came down here. So take it away.
To all of my friends in APBA, I'm sorry I'm unable to attend tonight's banquet and ceremony. I just wanted to take a few minutes to thank you for the tremendous honor. First off, there's a few people I'd like to thank. My wife, Judy, my son, Gary, my daughter, Tracy, and my son, Scott, for all the help they've been to me and for putting up with me for all these years. Security Race Products has been a tremendous part of my life in protecting the safety and well-being of the racers. Being part of American Powerboat Association has been one of the best things that ever happened to me. Records, championships, and all those things have been nice, but the thing that's kept me around for so long is that APBA cares about people and brings us all together to do something we all love. At the end of the day, we are one big happy family. Flat bottom boat racing has been my main category of racing. The guys call me Papa Smurf for teaching new guys the fundamentals of circle boat racing. Also like to thank Don and Annette Kelson, Ann Fitzgerald, and Patrick Gleason for being a friend and helping all these years. Thanks for letting me be part of your family.
Judy and Gary. This is Judy LaPointe, Al's wife, and Al's oldest son, Gary.
Thank you very much. Al loves bow race and he always will. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so glad they could make it here to represent Al. For the next inductee, Alan Ackerstrom, will you please come to the stage to present the information for our next inductee? No, that's not what I have. Pete Nichols? I'm sorry about that, Pete Nichols. Program changed.
Thank you, Ann. Tonight, I am proud to be able to present Steve Norrie to the induction of the Power Squadron, the Honor Society. Can we wait for this to finish?
Okay.
Because an induction into the Honor Squadron is one of the most respected forms of recognition that an individual can receive in our sport, and this induction is based on a lifetime of commitment. Every once in a while, however, a certain kind of person gives so much for so long to so many on a local level that his commitments and sacrifices and dedications simply cannot be ignored. Steve Norrie from Region 1 is exactly that kind of person. Steve Norrie attended his first race, tagging along with his father Norm, as a member of the Stardust Racing team at the age of 2. He started racing with the South Shore Outboard Association in 1963 at the age of 9 and has held a racing membership with APBA till this day, over 55 years. Along the way, Steve has won over 200 races, capturing the B Stock Runabout National High Points title in 1990 and capturing the prestigious Waldman Award in 2007. When he won 18 out of 21 races, he entered in D Stock Hydro. Known as a heads-up driver and a great starter, Steve over the years has established himself as one of the best drivers in the Northeast. Steve became active in his local club when he became SSOA secretary at the age of 22. He has since held every office within both Region 1 and the SSOA, that's South Shore Outboard Association, including region chairman and club commodores. Learning at the elbow of his mentor, the late, great Stanton Fitz. Steve learned to control a meeting and to always keep everything on a professional level. Steve has also been our referee, promoter, equipment manager, and statistician. Over the years, the amount Steve has given back to our sport and his fellow racers is staggering, and in the early 80s, Steve started Performance North,
a racing equipment company, in order to make it easier for local drivers to acquire engines, hardware, and racing accessories. Steve routinely travels to out-of-region races, including Berwick, Pennsylvania, and Crystal Lake, New York, to referee and direct their programs. Steve helps in every possible way to promote unity between the APBA and the Canadian Boating Federation by incorporating special event challenges at his races, handing out cash incentives to out-of-region trailers, and attending CBF events. Steve regularly loans equipment, cleans out club trailers, maintains patrol boats, stores equipment on his property, and writes one of the best newsletters in the country. Steve has pursued new races throughout New England and single-handedly implemented new races in Haverhill, Massachusetts, as well as Kingston and Milton, New Hampshire. Through this unwavering commitment to our sport, Steve has, through his example, inspired every single SSOA club member to step up and do more, therefore raising the entire club to an excellent level which it now enjoys. There is one area, however, where Steve shines brightest, and that is race directing. To attend a Steve Norrie race is to attend what could be only described as an event. Steve understands for most of the drivers, the focus is on the race itself. But for the families and pit crews and spectators and local communities, the rest of the event really does matter. Every detail of a Steve Norrie race is meticulously planned, and then the plan is executed to perfection. From Friday's inspection, pit area, and course setting up to punctual registration and drivers' meetings, every detail of a Steve Norrie race is attended to, from color guards with local talent delivering the national anthem, leading to a fast-paced 4-hour program. To old-school potluck dinners, there is always a feeling of being part of something special at a Steve Norrie race. He even once hosted a mass baptism behind the Masonic Temple at the pits at Kingston. Steve also finds a way to give back to the host community, either by giving registration discounts to drivers who donate canned goods to local food pantries, or partnering with the Kingston Children's Center to operate a concession stand, which has now turned into one of their largest fundraisers of the year. And of course, Steve's famous award presentations with trophies and merchandise prizes cap off every one of his races. I once asked Steve why he put so much effort into his award ceremonies, and his answer was, if you're not going to have a nice award ceremony, then why have the race? The benefit for Steve in all this, he once told me, is knowing that people had a good time and that they will come back. So as Steve sets up to the podium to accept his honor, let's all remember that there are a lot of other Steve Norries across the country, unsung and unassuming, working hard on the local level to keep up the mighty train which the APBA, chugging along, is on the right track. Thank you, Steve Norrie. You are no longer remaining anonymous.
Don't believe everything you hear. Thank you, Pete. I am humbled and honored to stand before you tonight. As Pete kind of implied, and I'm sure many of you are wondering, who is this guy and why is he up there? And I agree. I'm kind of wondering why I'm up here. When I received the notice in the mail, I was shocked to say the least. Overwhelmed and shocked. I said to my wife, Maureen, it must be a mistake. They'll be calling for this back. It was in the wrong envelope. After a week went by, I called President Nichols and asked him if it was a prank and was I being punked. He assured me it wasn't true, and much to my disbelief, I had to make the trip. I accept this recognition tonight on behalf of the segment of the membership that makes racing happen on the local level, the guys in the trenches. The members out there grinding it out day in and day out. The week before you show up for a race, there's people there 24/7 getting it ready. And when you leave Sunday night, they spend the next week cleaning up. They're the guys that make this sport happen. They're the real unsung heroes of the sport. And we have a philosopher in New England that says, do your job with a few days off and you're still there. Okay, he's been very successful. They had a big parade for him last weekend. For those of you that are out in the trenches, that question yourselves, why am I doing this? I don't race. I don't get any of the recognition. You can now take solace that someone is watching, and I can attest to that. So here I am, still trying to figure out why I'm here, but I guess I'll push on, and I believe it's because I have a relentless passion for the sport. The first person I need to acknowledge would be my late father, Norm. He took me to that first race in 1955. To my mother, who at 91 years old still comes to the races to support my brothers Tom and Tim, thank you for letting me tag along with Dad. My passion developed sometime, probably about 7 or 8 years old. There were only 2 things in life I ever wanted to do: play third base for the Boston Red Sox and race a boat. The Boston Red Sox thing didn't work out. I've been here for the last 65 years. As a kid running JU, my father taught me one important lesson: sportsmanship. Shake the hand of the winner and help anybody that needs help. It's not about you, it's about the sport. And that was in 1963, and I think it still holds true today, that some of the J parents could probably relate that to their kids. It's about sportsmanship and why we're here. He also mentioned on several occasions, I've learned a lot more with my eyes and ears open and my mouth shut. I kind of learned that one too. My mother's only advice: always surround yourself with good people and good will come of it. In 1973, when Pete Nichols asked me to be South Shore Outboard Secretary at 22 years old, little did I realize it was the opportunity of a lifetime. For you outboard people, at my first meeting, I took the roll call to the names of Stan and Steve Fitz, Stan Armstrong, Bill Giles, Clark Maloof, Jack Glasses Neely, Racer Allen, and Chuck McCabe. They were all in that room with about another 15 or 20 people. Through osmosis, it would have been impossible not to learn from that group of legends. They all had varying ideas as to how the sport should be run, who should be doing what, but they were all icons at the time, and I listened to every one of them. How could you not be inspired by this group of individuals? So they kind of had me hooked. I was committed now to be part of the club. In my mid-20s, I was employed in the banking industry, and the city of Haverhill, Massachusetts came to me looking for a race for some type of city celebration. Being young and naive, I thought, how hard could that be? South Shore runs them all the time. Upon the overwhelming success of that event, I came to the realization it wasn't that difficult a task. All you had to do was step up and do it. And my mother was right. I had surrounded myself with really good people that I got all the credit for the work from. The fear of the unknown was overcome. It was now very easy to get involved. I think it was through that effort that Stan Fitz and Bill Giles both took notice and took me under their wing. Little did I know they were grooming me for future endeavors. And you'd have to be some type of idiot not to listen to what Stan Fitz and Bill Giles had to say. They had distinctive, different personalities. Stan was very administrative oriented, very black and white. He taught how to run a meeting. Bill was more of the outgoing guy, but he was the race promoter locally. He was a referee, and I watched how he went through his motions, and believe me, I learned a lot. We had many discussions on where the club and Region 1 would go forward, and much to their dismay, I was adamant that I wanted to stay on the local, my role was on the local level, where an immediate impact of your efforts could be achieved. I will always volunteer when asked to participate nationally, but on a local level, we control our own destiny. We can make the decision, with immediate results being derived from our actions. And if we make a mistake, we can correct it. You send it out to committee, it takes 3 weeks to get an answer back. We could correct the mistake 3 times in 3 days if we made one. Too many times, in the effort to make the perfect decision, ultimately you make no decision. Not making this decision often leads to lost opportunity. So racing starts in our backyards. Without racing at the local level, quite frankly, South Shore Outboard and Region 1, we probably would have no need for APBA. Don't get me wrong. We need all of the committees, all of the commissions to provide direction, to guide the association down the path to the future. There's plenty of people out there that can fill those roles nationally. We need people in town hitting the dirt, making stuff happen locally. To grow the sport, we need to get it done right here at home. We've also discovered over the years that by focusing at the local level, we can lead by example and not with rhetoric. Show them how to work and they'll work. Most of them just don't know what to do. Encourage the guy that does nothing to do a little and the guy that does a little to do a little more. It works. We succeed as a team. And this is no more evident than in South Shore Outboard, the transformation we've made in the past 15 years. I may drive the bus, navigate the course of direction that we take, but it's the membership that fills those seats and executes the game plan that every race is a success and every season we can look back as a success. I'm also forever grateful to Pete Nichols and Billy Allen for their friendships for over 50 years. Not that I really need any rah-rah speeches, but they do keep my enthusiasm up at an optimum. To my wife, Maureen, look up Saint in the dictionary and her picture's there. On our third date, 43 years ago, we went to a boat race in Natick, Massachusetts. I know that she wasn't that quite sure how to take the sport, and she readily admits she loves racing today as much as she did 43 years ago. Take that for what it might be worth. But I always remind her she went on a 4th date. We have a son, David, who raced cars for 15 years, and a daughter, Monica, who has forgotten more about NASCAR than many people will ever know. So it's inevitable that motorsports is a frequent topic at the dinner table. Maureen has got to be the most tolerant person in the world. She has weathered 43 years of boat racing, my shenanigans, gone on all of the road trips, answered all of the phone calls when I wasn't available, and is the most integral part of our monthly newsletter, now in its 11th year without missing a month. Without her support, I'd be dead in the water. Love you, Mo. To the membership of APBA, thank you. You do not stick around for 60 years if you're not enjoying yourself and having fun. And I know there's not probably one person out there that has got upset about something and said, that's it, I'm done. And by 9 o'clock the next morning, you were back on board. That happens to everybody. For me, it's been a wonderful ride of friendships. The racing aspect of the sport is great, but it's the lifelong friendships that have developed over the years. How many places can you go and stand here tonight and say, you know people from all points of the country, and we all have the same interest and the same desires? It's genuine emotions and caring and respect that we extend to our fellow members that make this work. And this was most evident when in 2016, we had a tragic accident in Region 1. Without hesitation and without even knowing the individuals involved, the APBA family stepped up to the plate and through their generosity, donated tens of thousands of dollars for the grief-stricken families. It was an act of compassion that touched me deeply and an act that I will never forget, and one of the many reasons I am so proud to say that I belong to this organization. I've often been asked, why do you do it? Quite simple, it's for the love of the sport. Thank you.
Congratulations to both Steve and Al Lapointe. We're very proud to have them inducted in the Honor Squadron. And I think he really said it all. And I hope all of you, before I leave the podium up here, I hope all of you will take a look at people around you, the home. And I know there's lots of people out there that are in the grassroots level of dedicating so much time and energy and passion to this sport. And those are the people, too, that we want to see nominations for. And I'll look for that in my email. With this, I think we can move on. And thank you for being up here to congratulate our inductees. And we'll move on to the next. Okay, we're going to move on to the next award for Charles Strang, and Sally Titus will be coming up here to do a presentation. Sally?
Last year's recipient, Fred Howenstein, was unable to attend the convention and meetings this year, staying home to take care of Linda. So in his place, the prior year recipient, Sally Titus, would like to welcome the 2018 Charlie Strang Ultimate Service Award recipient.
Let me begin by saying that Charlie Strang was the most amazing person I have ever met. He will be missed by all of APBA forever. The Charles Strang Ultimate Service Award is presented each year, and I think the name of the award describes what the recipient has done for APBA, ultimate service. I could spend hours listening what this year's recipient has done within APBA. Don't worry, I'm not going to. I promise. He's been a referee, board of directors, a region chairman, worked on the J program. He's been an official for stock, OPC, inboard, unlimited, etc., etc., etc. It is my honor to present this year's award to APBA number 1. And honest, that's really his APBA number, 1. My congratulations to this year's recipient, Rick Sandstrom. I told him I'd make the speech if he'd hold that thing. It weighs 150 pounds.
And her husband said the propeller is on backwards. Many years ago, there was some stock outboarders that decided they would get together, see what they could do to improve APBA. Stan Fitz, John Stone, Will Gandy, Mike Jones, and of course Fred Miller. We were accused of meeting in smoke-filled rooms, plotting against the current guard of APBA, but really we just wanted to look at things to help improve. After we met for a few years, the committee decided it was time for me to run for office. So they wanted me to run for treasurer. Well, the next thing I knew, Charlie Strang wanted to meet with me, which scared the hell out of me. I knew who he was. I didn't know anything about him. Went up and met with him for about, an hour and a half. And learned about his passion for APBA. Since then, he's been a mentor to me, as well as a lot of other people down the road. This is a true honor, and I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you just witnessed was the organizational part of tonight's presentation and ceremony. These were service awards that have to do with the running of this great organization, which is over 100 years old. There are not very many organizations in the United States that are over 100 years old. APBA is one of them. Now we're going to talk about the drivers. I'm from Indiana, and in Indiana, car racing is a big deal. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the city of Indianapolis surround itself regarding automobile racing. And one of the great drivers, a guy by the name of Mario Andretti, the old guys and gals will know that name and the young ones won't. Mario Andretti said one time, "If things seem like they're going pretty well, you're not going fast enough." And Mario Andretti is one of the few IndyCar drivers who's blown an IndyCar over backwards. So tonight we're going to celebrate and recognize the best of the best drivers. Everybody who's done what only a new driver can imagine doing, and that is being at the top of the category and the top of your game and winning all there is to win in your category of racing. That's who we're going to celebrate tonight. But before we get to that, I would like all of the past inductees to the American Powerboat Association Hall of Champions and the Gulf Marine inductees to please rise. This year we have 20 inductees. We have 4 from Illinois, 3 from New Jersey, 3 from Washington, 3 from Michigan, 2 from Ohio, and one each from California, Connecticut, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and South Carolina. For 8 drivers, this is their first induction into the APBA Hall of Champions. For 5, it's their second. For 3, it's their third. For 3, it's their 4th time here. And for 1 driver, this is the 6th time he's been inducted into the APBA Hall of Champions. So tonight, please sit back and enjoy the show. These are the APBA's best of the best for 2018.
The American Powerboat Association 2018 Hall of Champions. Take a perfect 2.5-liter stock setup. Add Jeff Bernard's driving talent, and you've got a winning combination. The Kent Washington ace piloted Chris Veneris' S1 Windjammer to a 4th Hall of Champions. The S1 swept the divisionals, summer nationals, and high points. One of Jeff's speed records topped 94.4 miles per hour.
Jeff could not be with us tonight. However, please, when you have a chance, congratulate him for joining once again the APBA Hall of Champions. Up next.
If it has a motor and a prop, Mike can drive it to the checkered flag. In 2018, the multi-talented J. Michael Kelly concentrated on driving Tim Collins' Y41 shenanigans. He racked up over 4,300 points in 25 races. Divisionals, summer nationals, high points. The team took it all. Mike also won the Eastern Divisionals in Chris Veneris' S1. More than enough for his 7th Hall of Champions.
Please welcome back J. Michael Kelly.
I guess I get to be the lucky one that goes first tonight. I've been reflecting a lot on my 31 years of racing and what I've accomplished along the way. Then I thought about what I love most about this sport, and for me it's not just the racing, but it's the family I've gained from it. I've been lucky enough to travel all over and meet so many amazing people, and to me that's what keeps me coming back for more. The highlight of my summer, though, was my son Carson, who turned 9 the day of testing before nationals. Not only did he get a test, he also raced J Hydro and J Runabout and did an amazing job doing everything that he was asked to do and looking like he had been racing for years. He also went to Hampton, Virginia with me this summer and raced J Hydro while I raced the 1 liter. When I started racing, I ran a 60J. It took me 4 years to win my first race. Carson has already won a handful, so it won't be long before I probably lose my rides. Making it in the Hall of Champions this year was more of a team effort than anything. I drove Tim Collins Y1 Shenanigans, winning nationals, national high points, and Eastern divisionals. Then filled in as backup to the backup for Chris Veneris' S1 Windjammer team, winning Eastern divisionals. Without any of these amazing people, I would not be up here. I'd like to thank Tim Collins, who I consider one of my best friends, and Shannon for allowing me to drive their boat. Jim Seckler for building the fastest 1-liter engines, and of course always helping us at the races. Chris Veneris and his entire Windjammer team, Jeff Bernard, Doug, Frosty, John, and Avriel for giving me the opportunity to fill in and drive the fastest 2.5 in the country. My dad, of course, for all that he has done for me and now continuing his way with his grandchildren. My mom and my stepdad for all their support over the years. Will Fritz, who's one of my best friends, for being an awesome crew guy and always being there and wrenching on my boats. Dean Hobart, and of course my 3 boys, Brennan, Carson, and Asher. You boys make me so proud and give me something to look forward to every single day. And of course my wife Angela for always supporting me in this crazy and busy life that I lead. No matter what I do or where I go, she is always behind me 100%. So with that said, I just want to thank everyone. Thank you to all my family and friends, competitors, APBA, and of course, congratulations to all the Hall of Champions and inductees. Thank you.
How did Cody Olson from Rockford, Illinois spend his summer when not at Boy Scout campouts? Winning! High points, divisionals, and North American championships in J Hydro and J Runabout. He scored 3 second places and 1 third at the Nationals. Cody also hit the top 5 in AX high points. He earned the Trollian and Hearn Awards and a 3rd Hall of Champions trip in his 6th racing season.
Please welcome back Cody Olson.
Thank you, Councilor Hearn, for that kind introduction. Just remember, I'm always here if you ever need a new driver for your team. Hello, I'm Cody Olson. I would first like to start off by saying how honored I am to receive this most prestigious award. I would like to thank many people who have helped me through the season. I would like to thank my parents for everything they have done throughout the season, especially my father, who has taken off work for us to test, work on motors, propellers, and go to the races. I would also like to thank my siblings who helped me, especially my sister, Cassandra Olson, who's an up-and-coming scorer in Region 7. I would also like to thank Mike Pavlik for helping us with our boats, Will and Benny, aka Pit Boss Pavlik. A big shout out goes to the Pavliks, Jared and Coach Mikey, who has also made to the Hall of Champions. Congratulations to the both of you. Thank you, Mr. DeWald, for your famous propellers. Finally, I would like to thank Tom Smith, who has taught my dad, brother, and myself how to take apart, put together, and work on our motors. I want to look back to the 2017 last year's Hall of Champion banquet, specifically when Jimmy Shane said that J drivers are the future of boat racing. This really stuck with me. To make a point, can I please have all the J drivers stand up? Izzy? Come on. Corey, you're a J driver. Come on. Jared? Oh, come on. Jared, you raised AX. Yeah. Can everyone please give him a hand? Thank you. Because these kids are boat racing's future. Believe it or not, us J drivers pay attention and look up to the dedicated drivers like Mike and Mikey Pavlik, Donnie Allen, Peter Lauer, Jimmy Shane, J. Michael Kelly, Andrew Tate. Jimmy Shane also said, in order to have a successful racing season, you need to have a good team. I am fortunate enough to have an outstanding team, and I cannot thank my team enough. Because of my outstanding team, every year as a J driver, I have learned more and more. I am now able to set up my own boat, working on motors and propellers. I also like to thank Tom Smith, Mike Pavlik, and my dad for waking me up at the break of dawn to work on motors, boats, and to test. Thanks a lot. I learn every year what makes the boat setup go faster or slower, and how to make sure I'm getting the optimal amount of speed from each setup. At Phantom Lake, I learned not to put my fastest, thinnest wheel on my runabout in rough water. Man, was that dumb. I want to challenge all the J drivers to be the drivers that are not carried to your boat, to learn more about your motor, to learn how to set up your boat, to learn how to work on your motors and props, because someday you will be in the bigger classes and doing this at every race. As Cole and I said last year, our team once again had an outstanding racing year, traveling to both coasts and meeting new people and just having fun. I want to give a special thank you to all the people who have put on the races and make all this possible. They are the real heroes. Thank you. Have a great night.
Jared Pavlik of Oswego, Illinois, returns for his 4th Hall of Champions. He won national high points in both of the super competitive AX classes. Jared also aced the AX Runabout Divisionals and North American Championships. An extra adrenaline rush? Jared gets to share this year's Hall of Champions with his brother Mikey.
Please welcome Jared Pavlik.
Thank you. Theodore Roosevelt once said that it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out where the strong man stumbles, where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best, in the end, knows triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while doing greatly, so that his place shall never be with the cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. This is the quote that inspires my family and I. We did not have as good of a nationals as we would have liked, traveled the country to many races, only to have them be canceled, and had the police kick us off the river while testing. We kept pushing throughout the entire seasons though. After only 4 of 15 races needed, my brother, dad, and I decided it would be a good time for me to chase high points. They just told me the only problem was that I would have to win out for the rest of the season, something that would be especially hard racing against a bunch of amazing racers in the AX category. We took this challenge on knowing that whether we won it or not, we would have a great time racing and enjoy the journey. And with the sun setting on Wilson, North Carolina, we had achieved this goal, both Mikey and I. This goal could not have been achieved without the help of many people that I would like to thank. First, I would like to thank the Olsen family, as you just saw Cody up here. Their family has been incredibly generous and helpful and supportive throughout this entire season. I would also like to thank Joe and Mary Pater for all the great hospitality and treating us like family. I would like to thank Chris Fairchild for always being willing to help my family and I in everything we do. Richard Hearn for letting us use his motorhome, and Jim Sobel on our trek to Wilson, North Carolina. Jim Sweeney, Jeff Scheffler, Uncle Bill, Don Allen, Howie, the Shepherds, DeWald, Jackie, and John Corbis, all of whom have been great friends and family to everyone to my entire family. I couldn't have done this without them. Also, a big thank you to all of the race directors, inspectors, scorers, and volunteers that put in all the time to make this great sport possible. We couldn't be here without them. And lastly, I would like to thank my family. This sport is a family sport, and no one would be up here without their family. I'm fortunate enough to have a family that eats, sleeps, breathes, and lives boat racing. Every member in my family has helped me in so many ways, and there's no way I couldn't be up here without them. First of all, I would like to thank my grandparents. They're always so supportive of my brothers and I in everything we do. It means so much when they come to all of our games and races just to cheer us on. I'd also like to thank my mom for being my biggest support and help throughout my entire life, since the day I was born. I could not make it here or anywhere in my life without her. I'd like to thank my dad for his constant work and support on my brother and I's stuff. There's no way my brother and I could have made it anywhere in boat racing without him. He's an amazing boat builder, role model, friend, and father. I'd also especially like to thank my older brother, Mikey. You'll see him later today, and his constant work and dedication to both our equipment and the sport is just absurd. I'm so proud of him for making it to Hall of Champions this year, and he deserves it way more than me. I'd also like to thank my younger brothers, Will and Ben, for always understanding, We can't make it to all their football or baseball or basketball games just because me and my dad know our older brother at races. I'd also like to thank all their help and all their support on all of our racing stuff. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
When you marry into a racing family, you'd better step up. Luckily, Steve Kohlenstein of Baltimore, Maryland is a fast learner. Steve has proven himself a champion in 750 and 850 mod runabout. He won high points in both of those classes, the 750 Winter National and Eastern titles and sectional honors.
Please welcome Steve Kohlenstein.
How's everybody doing tonight? So it's an incredible honor to be inducted into the APBA Hall of Champions. Becoming a member of the elite group of boat racers is something I will certainly cherish and value my entire life. Because as special as it is to stand in front of you here tonight, the process of achieving this award has taught me more about life and relationships than I ever thought possible. For me to achieve anywhere near this level of success took a tremendous amount of support, investment, and effort from those around me. These unselfish acts are examples of true success in life. And this award is a testament to those that have supported me and the quality of character and culture that is in the boat racing community today. So while I couldn't possibly thank everyone for all the mentoring and support along the way, I do need to highlight a few people that I would describe as the linchpins to my success, or for purposes here, the shear pins to my success. First and foremost is my wife, Valerie. Roughly 10 years ago, in the back of our finance class, I was in my early attempts at charming you. When I asked, "What are you doing this weekend?" she immediately shot back, "I'm going powerboat racing." In hindsight, this moment is really where I would pin the start of my boat racing career. So after picking my jaw up off the floor, I knew this was someone I would have to get to know better. And after these 10 years, the person I've come to know and love is incredibly thoughtful, supportive, wise, and caring person that has an unwavering determination to win. Val is the brains, the brawn, and the beauty of Team America. This is true, especially on the beauty part. And this success is mostly a function of you. The next sheer pin to my success is my father-in-law, Captain America, Mr. Matt DiAgostino. From day one, you have treated me as family and given me incredible support, mentorship, and knowledge of boat racing. I truly would not be here without you. Your persistent investment and commitment to our great team has been the foundation for building incredible relationships and experiences with family. And I cannot thank you enough, and I look forward to many years and generations to come. But what ultimately makes boat racing as great as it is the people. George Luce and Jerry Davids are the epitome of this. What other sport can you think of where your fiercest competitors will give you any help necessary to get you on the race course? These guys have supported me from the beginning and have become great friends along the way. I look forward to many more years of great racing and fighting for the inside with these guys. Last but not least is my brothers and father who are here tonight. Your support and trust throughout this entire process has been incredible. You put your insurance agent bias aside and gave me an unwavering support and encouragement from the beginning. These guys have risen to the occasion whenever asked, including the multiple boat sanding parties past 2 a.m., which you've come to know and love quite well. And I could not truly thank you more. I look forward to watching both of you go for your first ride. Finally, thank you to APBA and the Mod Racing Commission for this great honor. You have made boat racing an amazing experience and a tradition that I will share with my family and friends for generations to come. Thank you.
Based in Columbus, Ohio, Nate Mitchell and the ever-fast 44S makes his second trip to the Hall after a triumphant 5th year of racing. He won the 200 Mod Hydro Nationals and Divisionals, plus the 125 Mod Hydro High Points and North American Championships. In the MJ Racing 350 Mod Runabout, he swept High Points, Winter Nationals, and the North American Championship.
Please welcome back Nate Mitchell.
I first wanted to start the night off by congratulating my fellow inductees. I'm honored tonight to be inducted into the Hall of Champions alongside you all. I also wanted to thank a couple of families and individuals for helping me get here this year. My father, he checks and rechecks the boats before every race to complete perfection. He is also the one who drives countless hours late nights all over the country to make sure we get to every race we need to be at. My mom is the heart and soul of our team. Not only can she make any of us smile at any given moment, she is the real reason I love to race. She is also the one who I get my competitive drive from. Then there's my sister Carissa. She may make me crazy a lot of the time, but I honestly do not know what I would do without her. She makes me want to strive to better heights and is also there for me whenever I need her. I'd also like to thank the Miller family, Mac, Sherry, and Scott, for always being there for us at the races. Between catching boats and launching boats and just helping us in general, you guys really help us a lot. Jeff and Mary Williams, I'm humbled to be able to drive the 350 modified runabout for Team MJ. Before 2017, I had never driven a rig of that caliber, and I truly love racing that boat and being part of your team. Jeff's attention to detail has helped me learn so much about what it takes to be successful. When I drive that boat, there is more to it than just racing. Because I race with a purpose, and that purpose is to make Jeff and Mary proud, because I want to live up to the name of that boat and the name of that racing team has. We won the High Point this year and hope to do a lot more in the future with MJ Racing. On a personal note, Jeff and Mary, I know that life is throwing many curves at you right now, but know that me and my family and the entire family of boat racing in this room is always here to support you. Dave Bennett, thank you for building a remarkable hydroplane. We won 3 titles in 2 categories with that boat. It's exhilarating, aggressive, and absolutely a blast to race. Thank you for your craftsmanship. I need to thank motor builder Steve Dunn. Winning in the modified category is much easier when speed comes off the workbench. I need to extend appreciation to the Modified Commission for their work in development of a new modified class with the PRD Fireball. This type of innovation and creativity inspires me to challenge myself for new solutions. We had a great season driving the new motor, and I look forward to continuing to improve our package for 2019. Although my induction this evening is in the modified category, I need to thank Jason Dirksen and Ed Runney for a thrilling A-Stock runabout season. I do want to recognize Seattle Outboard Association for a great event this summer. My family and I had an unforgettable experience traveling the country and seeing this amazing country. Our friendships on the West Coast are every bit as important as those back home. Boat racing has brought me a lot of amazing things to my life, between the amazing friends and families, but also the life lessons and amazing experiences. It is important to learn from our experiences, and this fall, I was able to compete in a big boat, little boat relay race at Tabor City, North Carolina. My fellow inductee, Big Steve, and I took on 3 other teams, including one of my sister, Carissa, and fellow inductee, Austin Vanover. Besides my own lesson in off-plane testing, I also look forward to hearing from the Modified Commission on my proposal for mandatory on-plane testing for 850 modified runabouts. I mean, Steve, you have like 1,000 horsepower in that thing. To the other 2 teams of Kelly, Abby, Summer, and Jason, I am sorry you got stuck in the middle of a brother-sister showdown. Anyway, congratulations to my sister and Austin on a great race. Big Steve, we had fun and we'll get them next time. In closing, I truly love to race boats, and I appreciate everyone who has offered advice and your experiences for me. I enjoy making memories of a lifetime with all of you. Thank you so much for this award.
Here he comes again. For the second year in a row, Austin Vanover of Cincinnati, Ohio hits the hall. Austin won high points, divisionals, and Eastern Crowns in all three big Mod Hydro classes. A North American championship in 750 Mod Hydro topped off his super season. With a year like that, Austin once again took home the Bob Goller and Paul Kolb Awards.
Please welcome Austin Vanover.
So I met someone this year at a race who had been around outboard racing majority of their life, not so much around the modified category, and someone described them to me by saying, he's an amazing driver, but he still can't beat his dad. The last 3 seasons, Cliff's Edge Racing has won modified outboard national championships, and none of them were by me. Eric Vanover is the staple of our racing team. That is just so much proof that Cliff Johnson and Eric Vanover just put so much time and effort into this racing team that you could throw any dummy in these boats and they would go out and win all these races. But also special thanks to the rest of Cliff's Edge Racing, Gary and Donna Miller, Jason and Tammy Dirksen, the Koshkas, Eric Kurps, all of Indian Outboard Association. They make me better. They're great competitors and they're great family. And then thank you to all of my friends and family back home. So much support and love from everybody back home, and I can't thank them enough. Thank you to What's Up Doc Racing. They always make sure that I'm fed and I have a proper liquid beverage in my hand if I choose to partake. But they need to step their game up because Lauer Racing's been trying to win me over. They took good care of me at the Nationals, and I can't thank them enough for all the steak that they give me. What's up, Doc? Huge thank you to Steve Dunn and his wife. They took our rig out to the Nationals for us, and we wouldn't have been able to get there if it wasn't for them. Thank you to Mark O'Brien and all of his Atlanta crew. They always love and support me, and they always help me at any race that they can. I also wanted to bring up the tag team race because my partner didn't get into the Hall of Champions, but we still won. So I think that these other Hall of Champions inductees need to step their game up a little bit. I also won 2 pro outboard runabout national championships this year in 700, 1100 runabout. And it wouldn't feel right standing up here if I didn't thank my Throby Automotive race team and everyone in pro outboard. They have taken me in with arms wide open, and I cannot thank everybody enough for everything that you guys have done for me. There's so much love and support in this room anywhere that we go, whether it be Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, or Moses Lake, Washington. And I'm just truly honored to be a part of this family. Thank you everyone so much for all your support.
Throttleman Steve Papp of Goshen, Connecticut, and driver Mike Moronic of Brick, New Jersey raced to the lead in Super V Light. Their number 77 Done Deal, a sleek 30-foot Phantom, had 1 win and a couple of second places going into the OPA Championship at Inglewood, Florida. There they led the pack all 3 days to clinch high points and their first Hall of Champions.
Please welcome Steve Papp and Mike Moronic.
A lot of people out here. First off, I want to thank you. It's a great honor. This is actually our first season together. We just had such a blast. We want to thank Ed Smith, who runs the OPA. Without him, we wouldn't be anywhere. So we want to thank you for that. Actually, one of my biggest sponsors is Steve. He's actually the boat owner, and without him, just want to thank him for giving me the opportunity. And It's a great honor.
Well, honestly, my goal this season was to finish a race. We both started in Class 7, smaller boats, not in the same boat together. I bought that boat a couple years ago thinking I knew what I was doing. I got in it. It was probably the most humbling experience of my life. So with that being said, Mike and I just got along really well, and we worked at it. We tried hard, and every race we got better, and we won the Nationals, the Worlds, and now we're here. So it's definitely almost surreal, so thank you.
Owner Pete Smith of Riverton, New Jersey, and Rich Smith of Souderton, Pennsylvania were Geico Triple Crown winners in 2018. The number 611 Smith Brothers Racing won 4 races, then finished the season with a strong second place at the OPA Championships in Inglewood, Florida. The Class 6 champions celebrate a great first ride to the Hall of Champions.
Please welcome Pete and Rich Smith.
I'm Pete. Oops, sorry. This is my brother, Rich. Thank you, APBA. First, I have to thank Rich. I could not do it without you, and I wouldn't want to do it without you. Some people say you should retire when you're on top. Well, this honor puts our 20-year career way over the top. But sorry to say, there's no way Rich and I can walk away from this great sport and our weekend family, being the Offshore Powerboat Association, or OPA as it is known. My brother Rich and I don't fit the mold of the stereotypic offshore powerboat racer. We're not big, we're not tough, we're not flashy or loud, but we do have something in common with all our fellow competitors. We love to race, just as you all do in this room, or else you wouldn't be here. Rich and I are a team in the boat, but we have a team outside the boat that we could not do without. Bud Wilson, our engine builder. Bud couldn't be here tonight. He's our second dad. He's been with us for over 20 years, and words cannot express our gratitude, and he knows how much he means to us. Dennis Garahan, who is here tonight, is our boat chief. He's our third dad. He's at the shop when we need to remove the engine, fix fiberglass, or just talk. We cannot thank you enough, Dennis. We also have to thank our mom and dad for their endless support over the years. Parents do things for their kids to succeed, but you went beyond to enable us to pursue our dreams. Thank you for everything. The rest of the team has joined us tonight, thanks to Barb, Pat, Tricia, for being part of our racing world. I have to thank my wife, Heidi. Supportive does not begin to describe her. I would not be the person that I am today without you. You are the best, and I love you so much. Thank you. 20 months ago, Rich and I had to make a racing decision. We had been involved in a tragic boat racing accident off of Point Pleasant, New Jersey, where one of our competitors lost his life. Our boat, the same boat that led us to the national championship this year and to this great honor, was sunk under the Atlantic Ocean for 9 days. Throughout the week, our emotions led us to retirement. At that point, we had won 2 national championships, 2 world championships, and a lot of races in between. We had a great time racing, and we thought we had done it all. Our intentions were to stay involved with racing, but be crew members for some of our racing buddies. But as the week went on, and with the support of my wife Heidi, my intentions wavered, as did Rich's. What changed? How can we give up something that we love so much? Did we do something wrong to cause the accident? Is racing unsafe? Support from other racers and a lot of soul searching led us to the fact that it was a racing accident, and accidents happen. Well, it took the efforts of Ed Smitty Smith to solidify our return to racing. Smitty, no relationship, there's just a lot of Smiths in racing, is the OPA president. During the days that our boat was sunk under the bottom of the Atlantic, he, along with Jennifer and Dave DiFederico and numerous rescue divers, spent long hours in rough seas trying to locate our sunken hull. Smitty made it his mission to retrieve our race boat to make sure we did not have an excuse to retire. Well, after much work, Smitty and the others located the boat. dragged it 5 miles under the water to the crane, lifted it up, full of water, a lot of sand, and even some seashells. He said, "Now you can go racing, no excuses." Thanks, Smitty, for all you did. There are no words Rich and I can describe or use for your support and friendship. We have become an extended family, which makes it easy since all of us have the last same name. Now back to that sunken boat. I'm almost finished, so don't worry. After we craned the boat back to the trailer 9 days later, we were surprised to see that the fiberglass hull was actually in pretty decent shape. The motor and electronics, not so much. Then the rebuild began. By the way, as you can figure, we did not retire after the accident. The boat repairs became part of our emotional recovery. Rich, Bud, and Dennis worked tirelessly on the boat so that we could get her back in the water. We did miss 3 races that year, but during the first race that we got back, that was part of our recovery. We needed it, our families needed it, and the OPA racing community needed it. We did some fine-tuning over the winter and attacked the year with vengeance. 3 wins in the first 3 races, we were back. The year finished off with our 3rd national championship. This honor helps us cement the fact that we did the right thing. We went racing, the thing we love. Thank you, APBA, for this great honor.
Pete and I were lucky to have parents who love boating. Summers were spent boating in New Jersey on the Barnegat Bay. Weekends and vacation were spent living on boats. We inherited their love of boating, and at an early age we had our own boats. First a rowboat, then our first powered boat, finally a 13-foot Boston whaler. The Jersey Shore in the 70s and the 80s was a place to be for any offshore racing fan. Back then, Point Pleasant was APBA Offshore Central. The second Wednesday of July was the Benihana Grand Prix. Previous to that, it had been the Hennessy Grand Prix. It was the largest offshore race in the world. Every August was the Barnegat Bay race, which was just a few miles from our parents' home. We would jump in the whaler and head out to watch names like Rocky Aoki, Joey Ippolito battle it out off the beach. We would head under the Toms River Bridge and watch as the regional guys raced for the checkered flag on the bay. Roger Munn and his Jolly Roger, Frank Locke with Wild Turkey, and Bud Crisp with Rated X all lived within blocks of our house. So needless to say, we were hooked at an early age. As teenagers, we volunteered for the Benihana Race Committee, never knowing someday we'd be racing ourselves and be fortunate enough to win both the Point Pleasant race and the Barnegat Bay race ourselves. Now here we are at the APBA banquet, joining the drivers we watched compete in the Hall of Champions. Drivers we idolized: Halpern, Cook, Martin, Jacoby, Ellswick. Racers. For a couple of kids from New Jersey running around in their 13-foot Boston whaler, we never could have dreamed this one up. Over the years, the sport has changed. Racing's different, but the racers are all driven by the same need that all of the inductees today have, the need to beat the other guy to the checkered flag. Just as the racers before us, we've been beaten up, we've been bruised, he's busted bones, we've wrecked every boat we've raced, sank one, almost sank another one twice, but we came back because we love the sport, because we love the people. It's a brotherhood of family, and without that support from that brotherhood and family that we got last year after our accident, we never would have been able to come back. So this award, while it has our name on it, belongs to those who have supported us in the good times and the bad over the past 20 years of racing. It belongs to our families, it belongs to our crew. It belongs to the racers, officials, and fans we're proud to call our friends. We're honored to accept this award on their behalf, and to Ed Smith, Smitty, this award has your name on it too. You're a Smith. Pete thanked the people who have been instrumental in our success over the years, so I just need to add my wife, Sean, who couldn't make it this evening. She supported my racing over the years, whether it was cars or boats. She understands, like many racing wives, that this is who I am and racing is what I do, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you all. Congratulations to all our fellow inductees. We're in good company. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.
Justin Gibson of Washington, Illinois, raced all 4 C Service and C Racing classes in 2018. Justin was red hot. He won 2 nationals, 3 high points titles, and 3 divisionals. In 19 races, Justin racked up over 9,700 total points to win the Colonel Green Round Hill Award. This is his 2nd trip to the Hall in a row.
Please welcome Justin Gibson.
How are we doing tonight? So last year I was up here, I decided not to read my speech and I winged it, and it didn't go so well, so I'm going to try to stick to the script this year. First off, congratulations to the other inductees, and it's an honor to be up here again. Unfortunately, I am not any less nervous than last year. Boat racing has been in my family for many, many years. My uncle, Michael, has owned boats since the 80s. I have very good memories of being in Depew, Illinois at the Pro Nationals, a very young age with my grandparents, my parents, siblings. Sitting there watching racing is when I caught the bug. I remember my grandma bought me a neon yellow shirt my first year there. Unfortunately, I don't have that shirt anymore, and if it did, I don't think it fit anyways. Fast forward a few years, I started helping out on the pit crew. I love being there, watching all the different classes and learning the ins and outs of boat racing. I always look forward to the day I would actually get in a boat and race. When I turned 18, I got that chance. I'll never forget my first race. It was in Huntington, Indiana. I actually won. Let's not forget that Jack Campbell jumped, and I gave my teammate a little tap to get out of the way, but I'll count it as a win anyways. That day I thought, boy, this is pretty easy. I was wrong. Since that day, I've spent the majority of my summers racing, and over the years, I've learned countless lessons, met some fantastic people along the way that I'll never forget, and I can't wait to keep racing and bring more people into the sport. I'd first like to start by thanking my wife and my daughters. They put up with a lot with me leaving on the weekends, going racing, and I'm proud to say my wife will be getting a boat for the first time this year, so that's exciting. Next, I'd like to thank my uncle, Michael Gibson. Without him, none of this would be possible. He's my sponsor, my crew chief, the one who yells at me. So thank you. Next, I'd like to thank my teammate and my engine builder, Jack Campbell. He builds some fast motors, and he has taught me a lot about racing over the years. He has won more national championships than I could ever imagine. And this year at Nationals, after the first heat of one of my races, I busted a crankshaft and didn't think I was going to make it back out for the next 2 heats. He loaned me his backup motor, and I ended up winning the next 2 heats in the national title. But before I went out for that second heat, he leans over and says, "Hey, don't mess that motor up. That was my dad's. No pressure." I lost my spot. I'd like to thank the APBA. This weekend's been fantastic, and without everybody behind the scenes, this weekend and racing in general wouldn't be possible. I'd like to thank the Indiana Outboard Association for putting us on every weekend, as well as the other clubs that welcome us, and to all my competitors who are more like family to me, and half the time I see them more in the summer than my actual family. It always amazes me that a bunch of guys who are out there trying to beat each other will do anything to help each other get out on the race course, so I can't thank them guys enough. It is with the help of these people, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot, that it's truly an honor to be here tonight. Thank you.
Coming from a family of champions, Andrew Thurlby of Interlochen, Michigan has carried on the winning tradition since he was 12 years old. In 2018, Andrew raced 500, 700, and 1100 runabout in the M16 Old Snort 3. He swept all 3 national titles. He claimed sectional honors, and he took a first, second, and a third in high points. You can bet Andrew's second Hall of Champions tour is not his last.
Please welcome Andrew Thurlby.
Might be a mistake, but unlike Justin, I did not write a speech. I'm going to spitball it. I would like to congratulate all the other Hall of Champions, including my teammate Austin. Brings the best out of me at every race, and I appreciate you. Congratulations. There's a lot of people I should talk about tonight, but there's only two I would like to talk about that are no longer with us. One of them is Steve Litzel. I was fortunate enough to have Steve Litzel as a friend, as a mentor, and he let me drive one of his race boats. I would not be here without Steve and all the wisdom he has given me in boat racing, and for that I am very thankful. The other one is my grandpa, Big Ed. We had our boat painted up the same way he had his boat. And I would like to say the Hall of Champions is one of my biggest honors, but that was definitely the biggest honor of my life, to be able to drive my grandpa's boat. I miss him. I owe him everything. I would not be up here without him. And there's a lot of people I should thank, but I feel like those two are the only ones that deserve it tonight. Yeah, thank you. It's
From Harbor Springs, Michigan, marathon man Peter Lauer has set a fast pace for 16 years, but 2018 was his breakout year. Lauer won 3 national championships in 15 Superstock runabout, both circle and marathon, and 25 SSR. He also won high points and divisionals in A-Stock runabout and 15 SSR. A 1-mile competition record in Dayton topped off his bid for this first trip to the Hall of Champions. Owner and dad Brian Lauer helped power his son's 24M campaign.
Please welcome Peter Lauer.
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody that helped me get here this year. And first and foremost, my dad. I definitely would not be here if it wasn't for him. He supported me in pretty much everything I've ever done my entire life. Continues to support me in everything I do. So I definitely have to give him a huge thank you for everything that he does. Scott and Kenny Honeysett, they go to all the races with us, help us test, work on the equipment. Pretty much everything that we do that involves boat racing, they're part of it. My grandpa, he likes to go to all the races and help out any way that he can. Tommy Smith, I couldn't tell you how many motors Tommy's built for us over the years, but I won a lot of races and a lot of championships because of Tom. Dave Bennett, he keeps telling me I almost electrocuted him to death at the Nationals this year when we were checking spark on my hydro, but even though I did that, he pretty much opened up his entire race trailer, boats, motors, propellers, anything that I needed. Dave wanted me to get here, and I can't thank him enough for everything that he's done. Bobby and Harry Austin, those guys are incredible. Anytime I needed some advice on a boat or a motor, they wanted to help out, and I'm just really thrilled that I have the opportunity to know each of them. Especially Bobby. He built me a brand new marathon boat this past year, and I can tell you what, brand new Austin runabouts don't come around very often, so I can't thank him enough for that, everything that he's done. Tim Sedor, Vic Briekman, they loaned me an awesome 25 runabout for the Nationals this year. I was actually able to win with, so I can't thank them enough for that opportunity. Tom Fairbairn, he's just another person that wanted me to get here this year, offered anything that was going to help me win a race, and let us test at his house pretty much whenever we wanted to this summer, so I can't thank him enough for that. Don Boysen, he's helped us tremendously over my entire racing career. He really just has an extreme wealth of knowledge about everything boat racing, and definitely hasn't been afraid to share that with us. Jim Sweeney, another person that wanted me to get here this year. He helped a bunch this spring, testing in summer, pit crew at the Nationals, and offering advice and equipment whenever he could. Johnny Odarski, I think he brought me fuel to just about every race I went to this year, so I can't thank him enough for that. And all the people that came here to support me and everybody here tonight. Thank you.
It's deja vu all over again. Kyle Lewis, 28R from Seattle, Washington, three-peats the Hall of Champions after one amazing season. He won the Nationals in both C-Stock classes and 20 Superstock Hydro. Kyle won high points in 3 classes and came in second in C Hydro. So close. The Sutter's Gold team also broke several speed records. Owner Lee Sutter and teammate Sean Burns supplied flawless rigs and strong motivation.
Please welcome back Kyle Lewis.
Well, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, it would have been shocking to know that this would be my 3rd induction tonight. I'm incredibly honored to stand here in front of all of you, staring back at me. It's still scary, but I'm slowly getting a little bit better. So, I'd like to talk about opportunities that present themselves that are good for the association and good for the sport. Around the time of the elections for the board of directors, so about October of this year, Jeff Brewster reached out to myself and a bunch of other young, up-and-coming individuals and future leaders of our sport and asked us to create a group to serve as a subcommittee to the Stock Outboard Racing Commission, to which we aptly named the Novice Racing Commission. We had a great group of young men and women whom I was honored to serve with. I feel we had awesome discussions, and we were able to give at least an opinion to the commission that I felt was valuable experience, and it was fun and something to look forward to and something I hope we can carry forward. So, it's been a dream of mine to race boats pretty much my entire life. I used to play with my younger brother in the living room. We would build boats out of Legos and drive them around little Lego courses, and my parents would step on them and get totally irritated, but hey, you know, we still raced. And 19 years later, here I am, racing with the greats of our sport, of my generation. Guys like Tate, Austin Vanover, Mikey Pavlik, Johnny Wildarski, Olsons, all the Pavliks. You guys just keep coming. Billy Allen and Joe Pater. You guys have that fierce look of determination in your eyes every time you're out there, and it just motivates me to keep trying to beat you guys, because that's hard. And week in and week out, I have to deal with 12 or more very motivated, young, fast individuals in the C-Stock Hydro class. Guys like Jay Michael, who push me every single heat to be better, to start better than them, which is almost impossible. So I can't thank all of my competitors enough for pushing me to hold myself to a higher standard and to keep trying, to give me something to look forward to. It's a blast. Lee asked me not to do this, but hey man, thank you very much for the unique, humbling, and all around really fun opportunity to go boat racing. It's been an honor to become your friend, and I appreciate every moment that we get to spend together. So, thank you guys.
Mikey Pavlik of Oswego, Illinois is a first-timer in the Hall, but what a haul! He earned the Menzies Award with 33,366 points, the most ever scored in a single season in stock outboard history. Mikey won Eastern Championships in 320 Superstock Hydro, a divisional, 2 high points titles, plus a few top 5 spots, and the Gerald Waldman Award.
Please welcome Mikey Pavlik.
So probably like 3 or 4 hours ago, one of Ed's kids comes up to me, says, "I bet you $10 I know what the first 2 words of your speech are gonna be." Like, "What's that?" She's like, "Thank you." I was like, "Okay," but I raced 88 times this year and I cannot afford to lose $10, so I'm not starting on that. In all seriousness though, 2018 was an incredible season full of firsts for me. I was fortunate enough to win my first national high points and earn my first Hall of Champions induction. But maybe the most important for me was my first time attempting to put on a boat race. I have many people to thank for things on the course later, but I'd be remiss not to thank all those who made it possible for us to race. All the scorers, race directors, referees, assistant referees, risk managers, inspectors, race promoters, and everyone else involved in making a boat race happen do not get the recognition they deserve. And I deeply appreciate the hours upon hours of commitment that goes into racing. Also, all of the APBA committee, commission, and board members for the dedication to the sport they all show. The sacrifice to valuable time that they could use on their own equipment to help out our sport, knowing it's all just going to come up, they're getting skewered on Hydro Racer, is the incredible commitment that shouldn't go unnoticed. Also, all the people at HQ, alongside my good friends Howie and Chris, are so vital to our sport, and I can't thank them enough. I've been fortunate enough to see firsthand how hard they all work for us. Whenever I work with Chris, he is running APBA through a Bluetooth headset 90% of the day and reminding my buddy Holden and I that we are morons the other 10%. And this is on top of having a dozen jobs and multiple children. With that said, I have a ton of people to thank for those who helped me on the course. First, Mac and Ken Falzer for all the times they joined me testing, and Mac essentially bullying me down to race weight every year. I'd also like to thank 3 of the masters of their craft, Tom Cronk, David DeWald, and Craig DeWald. It's really cool to be a member of the Hall of Champions, but to hear that Craig DeWald stuck around at Millville for 2.5 hours to race UHC Hydro might be even better than that. Next, I'd like to thank the Olson family, Richard Hearn, and his butler, Jim Sobel. For always lending me tons of equipment, being the first ones to call Sunday afternoon to see how we did. I'd also like to thank Jerry Gravison for all of his propeller knowledge and teaching my dad how to make a really fast sea hydro wheel. Next, I'd like to thank John Corbis and Jeff Scheffler. I think they'd kill me if I told you why I'm thanking them, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I'd like to thank the Allen family, in particular Don and Donnie, even though they're going inboard now, and that's cool, I guess. Don still knows more about what I'm doing on the race course than anyone, and I really appreciate all the support from them. Next, I'd like to thank all the Pater family. I'll get to Joe later. But Kelly, Mary Ann, Charlie, and Corey Ladd, I've spent probably 3 years of my life at the Pater compound, and it's awesome to have that extended family. Next, I'd like to thank my Uncle Bill. He comes testing with me, but really more for, he runs Region 7 and essentially all of Midwest racing. We wouldn't be able to race without him, and I really appreciate that. Next, I'd like to thank all my grandparents. They're the most supportive people I know. They drive all the way out to Washington just to watch us race. And if you ever go back and watch YouTube videos of me racing, you hear some lady screaming. That is probably my grandma. This next one I have circled, starred, highlighted, and all that. I have to thank my mom and my brothers Will and Ben. Can't really even begin to describe how much their support means to me. Whether we're taking off for 2 weeks to go to Washington or testing on Thanksgiving morning, the question is never like, oh, why are you guys doing this? But how can we help and how can we make this work better? And then when we're done, how did it go? What did you guys find? The next person I would like to thank is the most selfless person in racing, Chris Fairchild, our vice president. I'll show up to his house at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday in February. We'll be there till 1 in the morning just because he's like, you sure we're done? We have more stuff to do. The next person I'd like to thank is the best teammate and testing partner I know, Joe Pater. I've borrowed so much equipment from him, broken so much equipment from him. And besides all that, he's just a great friend and mentor, and I appreciate all the times racing with him. Next, I'd like to thank the better of the Pavlik inductees today, Jared Pavlik. We've tested together at 15 degrees and 115 degrees. We've been through it all, and I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else, and I am terrified for when you take over Sea Hydro. Last person I'd like to thank is my dad. No offense to everyone else that I mentioned, but the entire speech could have been about him. We're doing our classic Wednesday afternoon test session, because I'm going to work, at Depew, and he had just fixed the gear case that I had broken. I went out to test it, not expecting much, and found it to be 1.2 miles an hour faster, and could only laugh and ask him, dude, what can you not do? He gave me his 20 Hydro ride months after using it to get up here himself when I shouldn't have even been in a J Hydro. And I'm beyond thankful for not only his 24/7 work on my equipment, but his continued belief in me. We're on to 2019.
The 24J led the way in 2018. John Ledarski III of Newton, New Jersey started early in Lakeland and hit almost every race through Tabor City. Between stock and modified, John scored 36,839 points in 13 classes. He won 5 divisionals, 4 sectional titles, and 3 national high points crowns. He won his first national championship in 15 SSH and North American titles in 750 and 850 mod runabout. John finished second to Mikey Pavlik for the Menzies and Waldman Awards after the two battled it out all season.
Please welcome Johnny Wodlarski.
A little different than the podcast. But first off, just want to thank APBA and everyone who helped get this going. We've been enjoying ourselves, if you haven't noticed, at 4 a.m. by the pool. So when I was in college, I took a public speaking course, filling, gen eds. No matter the assignment, I made the speech about boat racing. By mid-semester, the professor asked, so I can't find any books written by Dylan Runny. And then he told me to stop giving boat racing speeches because he was tired of it, and he told me I'd never give a speech in front of a big crowd about boat racing. Should probably send him this video. What started out as a simple idea turned into a summer of full, nonstop racing, and some of the greatest memories. It says something about the group being inducted tonight when, on any given weekend, I'm racing against Austin, Nate, Big Steve, Mikey, Pete, and sometimes Tate when he comes to hang out. These guys are some of the toughest competitors in the country, and I'm honored to be inducted alongside of all these guys since we've grown up racing against each other. Jessup was the deciding factor for our season. Dylan and I drove straight through the night, got there, Dylan got thrown out for being underweight, I took home 2 titles, and we drove home. 23 weekends spent traveling, and there was nowhere that white van didn't go. There have been many people who have helped me since I started this sport, but first off, I'd like to thank a few friends who are no longer with us. And I knew they'd be proud. Shannon Bowman, Hank Runny, Michael Kench, Bob Trolling, and Bill Giles. Without those guys' influence in my life, I wouldn't be standing on this stage tonight. Dad, this was all for you. I gave a speech last year when I won my first title, 2US, and after that night, I wanted to get in the hall. You rode shotgun for over 20 weekends. You woke me up when I was driving at 2 a.m. with my sunglasses on because lights were hurting my eyes. But everything we do, you're involved in, and there's nothing I can do to thank you enough for what you've done for me. Mom, the same goes for you. Nothing would be possible without your help. Sorry you have to stay home and watch my dog, but everyone understands. From carrying boats inside the house, in the kitchen, at 2 a.m., to just being my biggest supporter, I love both of you guys. Dylan, this couldn't have been done without your help and guidance. Just don't let me drive home from Topo. Max and Kara, not sure I'd be up here either without your help. Just gonna have to go swimming at Wilson for the flywheel. It'll get fixed, sorry. Jerry and Joyce, no matter what I needed, you guys were always there, and I'm truly thankful for the opportunities you've given me. Scoop, thank you for your daily phone calls, even if it's at noon and I'm trying to work on a machine at work, and for pushing me to go for the Hall. 2019 is going to be your year. If anyone wants to go get a drink, I'm just going to run through a lot of names right now because I had a lot of people to thank, but I'm just going to run them off. Amanda and Dan King, Rich Sherry, Ed Roney, Dave Little, Gary Abbey Pond, Adam and Kelly Allen, Craig DeWald, Dave Bennett, Paige Joel, Caitlin, Damon Pave Young, Scott Reed, Scott Clark, Troy Gladkowski, Augie and Susan, that's my boss, I do have a job. Jeff Sherwin, Steve Norrie, Billy, Jane, and Rachel Simmons, Kyle Ball, Pat Gleason, Dylan Murray, Dave Hemp, Andrew Tate, Bobby King, Donnie, the Pavlik family, the Lauer family, the Gallagher-Pomfrey family, the Trollian family, the Nichols family, the Jennings family, the Miller family, the Allen family, the Hearn family, and the Gallagher boys. And my sponsors, Jessel Powerboat Racing Team, Power Mist, and Pit Viper Sunglasses. Without any name that I named tonight, I wouldn't be up here, and that's just this season. So there's been a lot of people who have influenced my life, and I look forward to potentially being up here next year. Thank you.
Lee Daniel sure makes winning look easy. From North Augusta, South Carolina, Lee won 9 of 14 races, including the Nationals, Divisionals, and a North American Championship. Lee was the 2018 Powerboat Nationals champion, and he battled to the top of SST 120 National High Points too. That strong performance brought Lee Daniel to the Hall of Champions for the second year in a row. Nice way to celebrate 25 years of racing.
Lee Daniel's not with us tonight. Actually, he was racing this afternoon, working on 2019, but congratulations to Lee Daniel.
After 34 years perfecting his driving skills, R.J. West of Manteca, California, basically owns SST 45. In his final year in the class, he and the number 93 Skelton Racing charged to the front of the pack again. RJ won 7 out of 9 races. He swept national and divisional championships and high points. His 4th trip to the APBA Hall of Champions is well earned.
Please welcome RJ West.
Well, first off, I'd like to congratulate all the other inductees this year on incredible seasons. That's why everyone's here, because of magical seasons that we don't even dream of sometimes. I'd like to thank all the race committees that do what they do throughout the year, the referees, the safety crews that sit out in the boats in wetsuits all day, the scorers, all the volunteers. There's so much work that goes into the races, weeks before we pull into the pits. We're making our plans, but there's tons of plans that are happening before we even get there. It really takes a village to enable us to have the fun that we have when we go to the races, and we appreciate it. All my thank yous, I'd like to thank my owner, Chuck Skelton. I couldn't ask for a better guy to drive for, to be honest. He is a boat racer. He doesn't race anymore, but he's a racer at heart, so he understands what we need to do to be competitive and to be successful at what we do. If we need parts, if we need equipment, there's not a question, because he knows what we need to go fast and what to win or be safe or whatever it takes. About a decade ago, he asked me to sub for a driver that he had that couldn't race for him at a race, and we won that race, and the guy couldn't make it to the next race, and we won that one, and then that brings us to right now. So it's been a great decade and an incredible journey, and he's a great friend and a better person. I'd also like to thank all the volunteers on the team that do so much getting us to the races. They volunteer their own time. We don't pay them, obviously. I hope that they enjoy the success that I have and feel like they're earning the same thing that I earn, because I feel like they are. Dean Wilson, Tim King, Jason Turner, Trish Turner, my brother Wally and my brother Warren, who also races against me, but he quite often gives up some of his own equipment just so I can do as good as I can. I'd also like to thank my wife, Jennifer, and my kids, Ryan and Connor, for supporting me and encouraging me when I'm out spending my time doing this thing called racing. Been doing it all my life, and it's all I know. When I was a kid, I used to draw pictures of my boats, and I'd put US 1 or US 2 on it, and it's not because I thought I would win a nationals or a national high point, but I thought it looked really cool. I'd get the Propeller magazine and I'd look and I'd see all my heroes. I'd see Bill Siebold. I came from a family that raced inboard, stock, and OPC. And I'd see pictures of Bill Siebold or Jim Propfeld, Gary Pugh, Dave DeWald, and many, many more people that are in this room and aren't in this room. And all incredible drivers. And I always thought to myself, how could these guys be that good and win that much? And as the years passed, I had more success than I ever thought I would have. And boat racing has truly shaped my life and afforded me many things: world travel, income, and most of all, some of the greatest friends and family that I could ask for. When I was young, I couldn't imagine talking to or approaching some of my heroes that I talked about. But over time, it's been crazy because they've become some of my best friends in life, and eventually I had to talk to Gary Pugh because I'd order a boat. So, he's a big A's fan over time. We talk quite a lot. I send him Oakland A's gear. He's the biggest A's fan in Tennessee. Dave DeWald and I have been roommates for weeks at a time overseas, working for Formula One teams. And it's just incredible how this sport takes you full circle sometimes. All over the years, what I realized is this is a great sport with so many great people. So as we all keep moving forward, there's going to be change, and we're not all going to agree with it, and it is going to happen, and it is going to be constant. So let's just keep moving forward and do the best we can, keep this sport working, and in 30 years, there's probably going to be somebody here talking about a lot of you guys out here. And I'd just like to thank you, and everybody have a safe travel.
Andrew Tate of Walled Lake, Michigan, blew away the H1 Unlimited field. The fourth-generation boat racer has only piloted Unlimiteds for a few years, but he's got the mojo. Driving the U9 Jones Racing for Mike and Lori Jones, Andrew put the hammer down to win 5 of 6 races in 2018. Especially sweet, an APBA Gold Cup, which his dad, Mark Tate, had won twice.
Please welcome Andrew Tate.
Thank you. Thank you to APBA for putting on a wonderful event. Being a great association, prestigious, I couldn't be happier to be here with everyone here tonight. This is my 3rd time being able to have this honor and talk in front of you guys. The first time, 2010, as a kneel down guy, an outboard guy, which I still consider myself to be an outboard guy. Steve David got inducted into the H1 category, the unlimited category that year. He raced against my father growing up, coming up through the inboard ranks. He raced unlimiteds when I was a little kid, and it just seemed really, really far off. Just something kind of unattainable. Didn't pay too much attention to really the circuit or what was going on at that time. 2015, my 2nd induction, an at-large bid. Much to the achievements of the outboard category again, as well as the inboard category. Still, really no thought of becoming an H1 unlimited driver. 2018, and here we are. Well, what's next? I don't really know, truthfully. I've enjoyed the ride. It's been a very humbling experience, a very great experience, and I've made a lot of great friends along the way. But since this year, I got inducted in the H1 category, and we are the biggest and fastest and most expensive and bestest. I'm thinking about becoming a driving coach, so I think it qualifies me to tell everyone how to drive in here, right? Wrong. I see little kids racing J, who will be racing J, who possess the qualities, the personality, the love of the sport to be standing up here one day. Little boys and little girls, don't think you can't be here. Believe in yourself. I never thought I would have this opportunity. Well, I'm very blessed. I have a last name that has a very rich history in the sport of boat racing. It has afforded me a lot of opportunities. I would be completely idiotic to think that doesn't have something to do with me being up here. 7 people that have been inducted tonight I have raced against. I have been beaten by most, if not all of them. So thank you, my competitors, my fellow inductees, for making me who I am today. One of the guys who is uber talented, and I am succeeding, I guess, in coming up here and talking in front of all you guys, is Jimmy Shane. He did this for 5 years in a row. That's quite an accomplishment. And to be honest with you, H1 Unlimited is a little different than most of the categories here today. I went every weekend to race against Jimmy Shane, sometimes J. Michael Kelly, who were going to be the odds-on favorite. Me and Jimmy had a lot of great battles. It was a lot of fun. I continue to respect him, and I hope to continue to race against him. I'd be lying if I said halfway through the year when you're racing against that same guy in a boat that goes just as fast as yours, that it didn't get a little personal. But I think we handled ourselves as much like professionals as we could, and hopefully we made the sport better because of it. Moving on to my sponsors, Real Trek, Delta Gear, Les Schwab, people who give us money to do what we love. In the unlimited category, it's money. That helps a lot. It lets you do the things you want to do. It lets you buy the motors you want, the propellers you want, the crew that you need to do it. Outboard guys, you have sponsors too. It might not be coming in the form of money, but it's the guy in the turnboat who doesn't race, who's there because he loves the sport. It's your buddy who told you not to drink that last beer at midnight the night before the Nationals. They're everywhere. Dedication and love and family is why we're here, which kind of brings me to my next category of family. My dad, my mother, my grandmother, and my brother, who, quite frankly, possessed as much, if not more talent than me growing up racing boats. Took a different path in his life and tried to become a hockey player. Everything happens for a reason. Growing up as a little kid, I was immersed in the sport of boat racing. When I was 3-4 years old, my father was my hero. I wanted to be just like him. Kids, when I got to be 16, 17, 18, I wanted nothing to do with him. I didn't think he knew anything. I'd like to think that's part of growing up. And when he tells you you have no idea how the real world works, he's not lying. Listen to him. But know that every time he yells at you when you get a bad start, that he means the best. He loves you. Your mom loves you. Your grandmother loves you. Your grandfather. And your brother. The crew goes in the category with the family. I could go through and name everyone. I'd rather not. I know everyone's ready to go to the bar. We were a family. We all grew ridiculous mustaches over the course of the summer. So I don't know really how to put it in more different context than that. Mike and Lori Jones, faces and names that really haven't been around too much outside of the unlimited category, maybe not physically, but Mike and Lori love boat racing more than anyone in here. And just because they aren't physically there doesn't mean they aren't doing what they think is best for the sport in any way that they can. So thank you to Mike and Lori. Without the opportunity that they afforded me to approach me at Moses Lake 2014, where I was the outboard guy that wore a cut suit with no shirt underneath it, and I never thought I'd be talking about an unlimited ride wearing Kevlar, but thank you for the opportunity. I think that pretty much wraps it up. And I just wanted everyone to know that for anyone out there that I've ever gone to the first turn on my knees with, this is for you. You guys made me who I am. There's people out there with just as much talent, love, dedication that could be standing here. There's people with gray hair and fat bellies that never had this opportunity, that had just as much talent and love and dedication to be standing up here. So thank you.
All right, you can't go to the bar yet. We got a couple more things to take care of. And to finish it up, almost finish it up, I want to welcome back Tracy Trollian.
I would like to invite the Allen family to the stage, please. I've been asked to present the Don Allen Award this year because the person who nominated this year's recipient is unable to attend this evening and has asked me to play a recording for them. If I can press the play button.
It is my privilege to Gloucester for the Don Allen Senior Memorial Leadership Award. That is not because I'm her husband, because of all the things she has done for me, not only as a racer.
Sorry, technical difficulties.
Don't timing clip. As a result, Jill started working on the judges' stand, and because she knew the chief scorer or stock outboard ever in Dayton, Ohio. I went stock outboard and was a sponsored driver for Jay currently, all three of them children and a fixed age. A APBA Bob. Prepared boat. And even pulled the starter rope out of it. Off the boat, Jill is given local. The stock outboard commissioner, headed the stock out promotional committee, with stock out chair.
Sorry, it was a very bad recording.
And it's doors, but new and old.
We're gonna fix this problem.
Yeah, I got it good, didn't I? All right, let me finish this in all seriousness. This is the greatest thing I've ever done in my whole life, I swear to God. I swear to God. Where are we? She has educated scores both new and old, as many of her trainees have gone to Chief Score, Stock, Mod, J National Championships. She currently holds the position of Stock Outboard Chief Scorer and Region 3 Secretary. Jill organized and chaired the Philadelphia APBA National Meeting in 1991 and has attended all but a few since then. Please video this. In 1994, Jill was honored by her club, Delaware Valley Outboard Racing Association, as a lifetime member. Promise you're not going to kill me. No, promise, right now. If I die, please do not turn her in. She has kids to take care of. In 2007, Jill started the J Scholarship Program along with Sherry Runny. Yeah, that should deserve a round of applause right there. And continues to oversee the fundraising and implementation of it each year. Now, from me to you. From a personal standpoint, I had never been to a boat race until I met and eventually married Jill in 1992. Seeing her incredible dedication to her passion. You all know my passion is golf. You know that, all of you in this room. As passionate as I am about golf, this woman to my left is just as passionate about boat racing for all of you. Her passion for this sport made me want to get involved. Jill guided me, as she has with so many others across the country, and now today I am proud to say that because of you, I have refereed or race directed several national championships. When someone has given 50 plus years of their life to an organization she cares so deeply about, it seems only fitting that the organization reward that person's lifelong contributions. Even today, Jill will often pop up at a boat race outside of her region. Yeah, I stole this from you, by the way. Willing to lend a hand in the pits or scoring. Her long-time dedication to the sport, coupled with her continued desire to see the sport grow and flourish, makes her the perfect candidate for the prestigious Don Allen Senior Memorial Leadership Award. And I can speak on behalf of the Allen family, I hope. On behalf of the Allen family and your family, I present to you the 2019 Don Allen Memorial Leadership Award winner, Jill Glossner.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. I knew nothing about this. I didn't even know my husband and son David were here. This was that much of a secret.
I'm not flying out tonight.
I kept worrying that my son Sean was not going to make his plane because he just kept sitting there. Thank
Love
you. Thank you to the Allen family. I was lucky enough to know Don Allen Sr. I think I probably first memory of him was at a national meeting. He and probably 4 or 5 other guys and I all piled into a cab to go to a bar together. And all I know, it was in St. Louis, but I don't remember what year it was. Was it 87? So, APBA and all of you people and the people at home and boat racing is my life. I was lucky enough to be born and raised into the association by my parents. My father raced started in the late 20s. My brother raced, I raced. I gave up when I got both of my sons racing. I couldn't do everything, but I've enjoyed the whole time, and this means a lot. So thank you very much.
Kids were wondering I did play golf today.
Congratulations, Jill. All right, for the closing ceremonies, first of all, I'd like my wife to come up here. Kelly, come on up here. And secondly, I'd like everybody in the room who does not race or does not currently race to please stand up. If you don't race or are not currently racing, stand up. That includes you used to race, but you don't race anymore. One of the things that we have 5 children, and one of the things that we try to do is impart to our children to be thankful and to show appreciation for people that do something that contributes to something that we do. So that's why I asked you all to stand up, and I'm going to do something that's sort of uncharacteristic for me. I want to read you something. It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine. That's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long, a beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you are my hero and everything that I would like to be? I can fly higher than an eagle, for you are the wind beneath my wings. Thank you to all of our supporters. Congratulations to all of our champions. Good night.